Alright guys, I have to talk about a match that happened during Evo Japan because it was some of the best Potemkin play I've ever seen. More importantly though, this Potemkin player did something that no one else could do in the tournament. This is Consomme. Consomme is one of the best Potemkin players in the world. He is a hidden gem from Japan, and you can't see his rating on Rating Update, but people that play Potemkin know how good he is. He was cruising through the bracket and got matched up against arguably the best player in Guilty Gear Strive, TempestNYC, who has gotten first in many Guilty Gear Strive events, and in this tournament, he hasn't even dropped a single game yet. Let's jump right into it. Now right off the bat, he goes for a pop buster against the best player. Super ballsy moves, and I am here for it. Car hammerfall to get the safe jab into Garuda, catches the backdash, does a shoulder bash, but doesn't get the heat knuckle. For those wondering why he tried to do a heat knuckle, aka grab a kid in the air, it's because if the person backdashes and you hit him with the Garuda, they go into the tumble state, and then you can shoulder bash them to bounce them off the wall, which then you can heat knuckle them. But to be fair, this is kind of inconsistent, but I figured I'd mention it anyways. It doesn't matter though, he maintains pressure. Then he does a delayed hammerfall into jump scare pop buster. Alright guys, I know I explained this a million times, but jump scare pop busters are my favorite thing, so I'm gonna do it again. A jump scare pop buster is when you cancel a move with a Roman cancel and then immediately input the pop buster, and it becomes something you can't really react to. However, you can only do this with a fast Roman cancel. None of this slow shit or else they can see it coming. Usually you do it out of hammerfall, but in this case he did a delayed one, but I think he would have actually gotten the grab if he just did it from hammerfall without breaking. He unfortunately gets punished for this. He uses burst to put Tempest back in the corner and immediately uses Garuda to keep his pressure. Tempest lands his 6-piece, side switches, then does the Leo staple and crosses him up. Leo is the king of cross-ups, and what this basically means is he switches over to the other side of the opponent so they have to change the direction that they are blocking, and especially with Leo, it happens so fast that it's really hard to react to. But other characters in the cast have a cross-up mechanic as well. Funny enough, after doing a cross-up, he does an overhead. Now an overhead hits the opponent when they are blocking low, and generally most of the time you're going to be blocking low unless the person's jumping and tries to do an attack, because attacks that are in the air count as an overhead. But some characters have an overhead attack that are grounded. Every character has a dust attack that is an overhead. However, these have a relatively slow startup, so yeah, that's how that works. Tempest continues pressure and hits him with stagger pressure and wall breaks Pot through the wall with a super, which gives him a hard knockdown, plus positive bonage, which gives you a bunch of benefits I'll put up on the screen. But Consomme uses Deflect Shield. This is just a quick note, Deflect Shield blocks all attacks. It doesn't matter if it's an overhead, a low, or a mid, but you can still get grabbed using this, but the main benefit is that it pushes the opponent back really far. Oh, and it also uses 50% of your burst meter. I guess that's kind of important. Consomme uses hammerfall, but Tempest uses Roman cancels to grab him out of it. Pot wakes up, yellow Roman cancels to not get bullied, but gets bullied by a DP anyways. On to round 2, Consomme jumps over Leo. Not only does one booty slam, but 2. And even better, he gets a pot buster from this. He slides up, jabs his face, pressures him into the corner. Tempest finds a way in to hit him a few times, crosses him up. Consomme, having none of it, yellow Roman cancels into low, oddly puts himself in the corner? Whatever, it doesn't matter because it still tricks Tempest and does another heat tackle again, and then hits him with the Garuda. Tempest whiffs the DP, and there's no punish. He Mega Fists over Leo, welcome to Block City, but Consomme armors his way through and lands a hammerfall. Round 3 starts. Pot lands a grab and does a meaty jump heavy, trying to catch him blocking low, and does the biggest drop kick ever, switches sides and taps his toes, and whoops, gets pot busted, and then does a burst safe heat knuckle. Burst safe is exactly what it says. It's being able to do a move while being safe from burst. In this instance, it's because landing a pot buster makes it so you aren't able to burst, and strangely enough, you can purple Roman cancel after to keep this effect for one hit, making it safe from burst. Tempest tries to blue Roman cancel towards Pot, but Pot is already ready to poke his knees. Consomme jumps in and goes for a Pot Buster, but will get punished and pushed into the corner, just like what my teachers did to me in school. Goes for a Hammerfall, cancels into guaranteed Garuda pressure. Just kidding, Pot is put back in the corner. Catches him with a cross-up and then side switches to break him through the wall, but Consomme burst! Hammerfall into super, and Tempest wasn't ready, and this will make him perish. And just like that, Consomme wins the first game. And not only that, it's the first game that Tempest has lost in this tournament so far. Consomme sits on Leo's face, catches his backdash, pushes him into the corner, then puts on the pressure in the corner and lands a Hammerfall into close slash to set up Garuda pressure. The second Garuda is far away enough that it's safe from most moves, but then it clashes with Leo's DP. The clash happens when two moves hit each other at the same time and the screen freezes for a brief moment and both players' moves are cancelable, meaning you can do any move after a clash happens. And Tempest instantly drop kicks out of it, but Consomme was ready to block and then catches his backdash with Hammerfall and grabs him with Heat Knuckle. This ends up breaking the wall and he would then Mega Fist over Leo, but then tries to save himself by canceling it, but Tempest already hit a button, so it comes out first, punishing Pot and pushing him into the corner. And yes, he gets a wall break on Pot now. Consomme brings out the Kai barrier and Heat tackles over to side switch, hoping it would cross up Tempest, but he yellow Roman cancels and runs up, grabs, and tries to cross Pot up, but he wakes up in Gold's Burst. Now, we all know Burst lets you break out of any combos as long as it's not a super or you're being grabbed. Gold Burst, however, is used when you are currently not being attacked or in the neutral state, which there's a small window to do this upon waking up from a hard knockdown. And like I said before, it grants meter gain for both meters and grants you 10% bonus damage and defense. I probably should have done this pause section a bit earlier, but you know, mistakes were made. This pushes Tempest into the corner, and then he just slaps him in the mouth and finishes the round with a Mega Fist. Round 2 starts, Tempest crosses up Consomme and does it again, then hits him with the overhead mix, granting him a small combo, bringing Pot to the corner, then tries to hit him with the overhead and uses a super without getting a hit confirm? What is this? Doesn't matter though, because he's plus and gets to continue pressure until back Mega Fist comes out, baby. Uses an unsafe Hammerfall, but doesn't get punished for it. And I can't believe it, as Consomme goes for a slide head, Tempest does a drop kick, which dodges the slide head completely and gets hit. Consomme does an instant block FD, which pushes Leo back a ton. Okay, so when I said FD, it's actually just called Faultless Defense, and it's obviously a defensive mechanic. It uses your tension meter to push your opponent back further when you are blocking their attacks, and it makes it so you take no chip damage. And in this game, when you block, you are susceptible to taking damage while blocking. So this is why it's good to use this so you don't take any chip damage, because you can die even if you're just blocking. Now, to further this even further, there's instant blocking. So this is when you block a move 2 frames before the attack actually connects, and doing this alone by itself prevents chip damage. You gain twice the amount of tension while blocking if you do a just block, among other little nuanced things I'm not going to get into, but it goes even further, so you can use Faultless Defense and Instant Block, which is, you know, an IBFD, and that makes it so the Faultless Defense pushes them even further away than normal, and it also grants all the other bonuses that an Instant Block does. Making this a medium risk, high reward. If you time it too early, you just get the normal FD block, but if you time it too late, well, you're not going to have a good time. Now that he has the distance, he uses Slide Head into Wild Assault to keep his turn going. Goes for the Garuda. Leo jumps it, but gets hit by the Slide Head. Goes into Hammerfall Garuda. Catches Leo with the low. Back into Garuda. Into the double low. Hard knockdown for even more Garuda pressure. You love to see it. Yet another clash happens. Blocks the drop kicks and puts his fingers in his mouth. Hammerfall jump scare Pot Buster, but a little too late, and hits him with a side switch. Pot goes back into the corner and goes for another overhead into super, both being blocked. Consomme goes for back Mega Fist and just holds block, and Tempest throws out a DP, gets pot busted, and Consomme takes the second game, only needing one more to beat the legendary TempestNYC. And now we're on to game 3, round 1. Consomme hits him with a low into White Wild Assault. Probably thought that low was going to be blocked. Leo tries to get out of the corner, but gets slapped in the face and put back into the corner and proceeds to get pot busted. Fast Roman cancels into Heat Knuckle, so he couldn't burst out of it. And then he just throws out a shoulder bash into another pot buster, and he is just one round away from winning the whole entire set. Round 2 starts. Consomme goes for a Kara pot buster, but it gets snuffed out by Tempest. Consomme deflects shields to get out of the pressure, but gets hit by the drop kick again and gets crossed up by Tempest, hitting him with a 3-step into a cross-up grab. At this point, Tempest installed a Game Genie in his controller, but Consomme gets out with a back Mega Fist, slides up White Wild Assaults him, negates the DP, and launches him back up with the 2 heavy Hammerfall cancel into barrier, uses Heat Knuckle to make him land back onto the barrier, then hits him with a Heat Tackle. After the screen transition, Tempest would hit him with a drop kick Murphy's and combo him into the corner. Consomme finally gets hit by the overhead, and this super will kill his ass. Going into round 3, unfortunately. Round 3 starts. Consomme Wild Assaults into low into Garuda, which blows Tempest all the way into the corner. Tempest just DPs out of there, though. After $60 worth of blocking, Tempest would shimmy, making Pot whiff his grab, and here comes the pain. Now, if you take a look at Pot's health bar, it ain't doing too good. And it even gets worse after he hits him with a super. Jesus, look at all that health. Only Pot should be able to do that. Consomme gets out of the corner with Hammerfall, and Fast Roman cancels into Garuda. And Pot Buster, here it comes. Full charge dust. Tempest doesn't want to know what happens next and bursts out of there. Consomme lands a slide head, slides up, uses White Wild Assault just in case he DPs. Tempest lands and just instantly uses super, which gives him invulnerability. This probably would have put Consomme through the wall, but he Roman cancels to get the extra damage and finishes him off, and Tempest is now on the board, winning game 3. Round 1 starts. Tempest lands his anti-air, does the side switch into overhead, into side switch again. Consomme bursts out of there just as I would have. Hits Leo with a low. Doesn't get much off of it except scaring Leo back into the corner. But it doesn't matter because Tempest hits him with a 5 heavy and side switch to put Pot in the corner. And he uses super that looks like it shouldn't hit, but it does. But an OTG super wall breaks. Anyways, Consomme finds a way in with Hammerfall, but would end up getting bursted. Consomme will skip neutral and use White Wild Assault, and I will say this does seem a bit much for White Wild Assault, but I mean, look how far this reaches. Anyways, Pot hits him with a low, and Tempest DPs and will convert this into a combo, bringing Consomme to the wall, back Mega Fist into Pot Buster, cancels it to finish the job, taking the first round. Let's go, Consomme. Round 2 starts. Leo punches Pot in the face a couple times. It's enough times that he ends up in the corner. Hits him with the cross up and then an overhead where he can convert into a combo. Jeez. Thank God Pot sits on his face. Doesn't matter though, because Tempest would come in swinging from the air, juggling him into the wall, into a super, gets a hard knockdown. Gosh, Leo, just shave your beard and your head. No one's gonna like you after that. Runs up, grab, cancels that into a combo, and that will kill Consomme. Going into round 3, Tempest hits Pot twice, then Pot gets a gold burst. We don't love to see the drop kick big counter. Consomme is bullied into the corner, and you know what comes next. Cross up into Roman cancel, side switch back in the corner, and gets the wall break. Tempest punches the air and then punches him, and Consomme does a delayed yellow Roman cancel. Now, I'm almost certain this was supposed to be a blue Roman cancel Pot Buster or a blue Roman cancel into any other attack with how delayed it was. But, you know, I thought this was just very strange that a yellow Roman cancel came out. Anyways, Tempest tries to do a drop kick, realizes he messed up and cancels it, but Pot was ready for him with the big counter into heat tackle. Wild Assault to keep the pressure going, but attempts to reset pressure again with Garuda, and now Tempest goes on the offense. Consomme uses Blue Roman cancel into Heat Knuckle, catching him with a low as he lands into a Heat Tackle. Continues presser, uses Wild Assault into Close Slash into the backhand, but Leo was using Faultless defense, so it pushes him back too far to get hit by the Garuda. Consomme jumps over Tempest, but gets hit by the anti-air, and Tempest lays on the pressure with, of course, the cross-up and finishes the game with a low. Tempest is relieved he didn't get sent to losers by a Potemkin yet. But this is the final game. Round 1, Consomme opens up with Wild Assault in a low dust, gets hit by the DP, god damn it, and now Tempest keeps pressure by swinging his swords at him constantly, lands a straight hit, and taps dust button. Roman cancels to destroy Potemkin against the wall and gets the wall break with Wild Assault, so he gets a hard knockdown. Damn it. Consomme tries to backdash and Close Slash, but gets punished for it. Consomme uses Burst. Hammer falls up. Psych, it's a Garuda now, and it's time to get grabbed. Honestly, the best thing to see. Slides up with no resources. Leo double jumps in fear and lands a hit. And since he has all the resources in the world, he will kill. And just like that, he did in fact kill. Round 2 starts. Pot starts in the air for some reason and shows his cheeks to Leo. Leo doesn't like that, so he grabs Pot, crosses up, hits a button, and falls up with more buttons that combo into each other. As a Pot player, I would also hit the burst button from that. Consomme lands a 2D counter into Hammerfall, does a shoulder bash, just keeps back Mega Fisting for his life, but then does a forward one that isn't really good. Tempest puts on the pressure until Consomme Yellow Roman cancels and just does a Pot bust out of it. Holy shit, he's so close to winning. Rolls up, tries to continue more pressure, but Pot can't get too much off without any resources. Tempest catches him with an anti-air, then tries to catch him with a tap dust, but Consomme blocks, but cancels into cross-up. Jeez, Pot wakes up to Flex Shield, doesn't do him any good, and Tempest lands a hit and will spend his resources to try to end this. Consomme still living. Tempest catches him with a low, and it's sad to say, but Consomme got reverse 3-0'd. And you know, Tempest is a godlike player and can clutch out these kinds of situations. However, this was another good showcase of how good Potemkin can be in the right hands. Consomme almost won a set against arguably the best player. And not only that, if you look at all the sets played against Tempest, no one could take 2 games off of him. And even crazier, Tempest 3-0'd everyone in top 6. His greatest threat in this tournament came from a Pot player, and that says a lot. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Sub if you want to help me out, and I'll see you next time.